Hi everybody. This video is about budgeting strategies. You should have your notes organizer open as well in another window so that you can take notes and watch the video at the same time. By the time we're done with this particular video, you will be able to list the 4 different categories of expenses. You'll understand 4 different budgeting strategies, and you'll be able to weigh the pros and cons. So let's start with those categories of expenses. There's 4 types of expenses we're going to talk about: fixed, recurring, non-recurring, and whammy expenses. And whammy is just kind of a funny word for emergency expenses. Fixed expenses are expenses that happen every month, like clockwork. They happen on a certain day for a certain dollar amount. And some examples of those are rent, your car payment, and your electric bill if you're on an average payment plan. Recurring expenses are expenses that happen every month, but they're not on a fixed date and they don't have a fixed dollar amount. So, for example, those could include groceries, gasoline, or eating out. Non-recurring expenses are ones that are not regularly occurring. So these are going to be things that only crop up probably once or twice a year, and they're usually more expensive. Some examples are your car registration, back to school shopping, or holiday gift giving. Whammy expenses, like a big whammy, these are emergency expenses like having to go to the emergency room, a hospital visit. They're unpredictable. We just don't know when we might get hit with one of these, and usually they're very expensive. For example, your car could get totaled, your roof starts leaking, or your air conditioner breaks down and it's 105 degrees outside. So your budget needs to include all of these. And on your organizer, there are 5 examples of different types of expenses. And you just take a minute right now and select which kind of expense they are. Now we're going to switch and talk about budgeting strategies. There's 4 budgeting strategies that we're going to walk through. The 50-30-20 is pretty popular. It's on the internet. A lot of different people talk about it. It's pretty easy. Basically, it says 50% of your income, should go to your needs. 30% of your income should go to your wants, and 20% of your income should go to savings. Now, one of the benefits of this budgeting strategy, a pro, if you will, is that it's pretty easy to figure out how much goes where. The con is that there's been some criticism that this 50% of your income going to your needs isn't enough, depending upon your cost of living. So if you are living in New York or California, the cost of living might be very high, so it would be hard to have all of your bills covered by that 50%, because the needs include your bills as well as paying down your debt or getting rid of your debt. So that's one con about it. Pay yourself first. This is a pretty easy budget approach. It just says that paying yourself first, that's your first bill of the month, and that just means you're putting money into your own savings account. It's not really a bill, but you are paying yourself first. So you're putting money into your savings account before you pay any other bills. Then you pay your regular bills, and then you use the money however you wish. So it's simple. That's a pro. The con is you're not planning for the future because you don't really know what's coming and you're not sure about how you're spending your money. But it is easy to get started. Okay, the zero-based budget. And this is one that we're going to practice in our activities. It is much more complicated than the others that we've talked about. This means that every dollar of income that you have needs to be allocated to a particular category. So the leaving you with a balance of 0 just means if you're looking at your income and subtracting your expenses, that'll be a 0. You should get to 0. That's a zero-based budget. Now, it's just a lot more complicated because you've got a lot more categories that you're tracking. but it does help you understand where all of your money is going. And it kind of forces you to think about planning for your future. It'll help you do that. Definitely one to consider. And the last budgeting strategy we're going to talk about is the envelope budget. And you've probably seen a TikTok where they're putting cash in specific envelopes. It's kind of fun to watch. It's where you've budgeted, but you're literally getting cash out of the bank and putting specific dollar amounts in each of the envelopes. And there's lots of ways to do it. Fancy zippered envelopes, or you could just use plain old business envelopes. You could use mason jars. Lots of people do different things. But basically, you spend all the cash in the different categories, and when the envelope is empty, you can't spend any more in that category. If there's money left over in the envelopes at the end of the month, you get to decide what to do. Some people say just take all that money out and put it in savings. Some people choose to roll it over to the next month because maybe they are anticipating an expense in the future. For example, if you wanted to buy a winter coat and maybe you were putting only $50 into your clothing envelope each month, you might need 2 months of money before you could get your winter coat, if it's around $100. So that's the thinking behind the envelope budget. It's very hands-on, which a lot of people really like because it's literally the cash.